Hello, YouTube, everyone in the world. How's it going today? How y'all doing? Happy Friday or Saturday if you're watching this, and that's, might be Saturday for some people. Streaming, there's a dude from Australia. I was saying happy Friday, it's a Saturday. So today I want to talk about a little bit of Intel Arc. There are much better people to dive into the specifics of it, but I want to give my opinions looking at everything. I don't have a preference of certain GPU brands. I don't have a preference of anything specific. I'm here to give advice for the consumers and people who are actually trying to get GPUs. And I've been seeing a lot of this. Like, this is the only one that I saw. Everything else is like how these will change the GPUs, PC Gamer, help us, Pat Gelsinger. Intel is our only hope out of this nightmarish GPU crisis and everything. So let's talk about all this. First off, the expectations of Intel. These are pretty big expectations. This isn't a quote, but Raj has said, Raja Koduri of Intel. I believe he used to work on the Radeon side beforehand. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you guys will. And they want to get millions of these in there. Now, with the current GPU shortage, the current chip shortage, this might seem completely impossible, but Intel has their own fabs. So there's a lot more questions in the air of can they get the product out? What's the actual performance of the models coming out? What models are coming out? What are they supposed to be targeting? What are their price points? Because it doesn't matter if they have millions of these available, and we'll go through that in a little bit. It doesn't matter if there's 3 million of these available right now. They've got 3 SKUs, there's 1 million of each. And they're just like, hey, by the end of the year, we have half of those now, we'll have half of those in a couple of months, or the rest of it in a couple of months, whatever. It doesn't matter if the prices are going to be the same, because the GPU crisis is not as bad availability wise as people want to, as you might think. It's bad pricing wise. But there's a lot more like that I'm skeptical of. The original Intel, I forget what it was called, but they're like first gen of this that came out, didn't get released. I think it was in very few OEMs. Very few. It's very hard to even to see to get one. Wasn't impressive at all. If they're just Founders Editions, are there going to be AIBs? If they're just Founders Editions and they're just out of Intel's fab and they're not working with EVGA, MSI, if they're not working with a lot of these people and they're just having like their own in-house one, then that's going to be better for keeping price-wise if they don't get greedy. And Intel is not known for being the price to performance person. They're known to be like, we aim for the top, right? So the first thing out of all this is everybody stop jerking off Intel. Like, they're a corporation trying to make money. They're not doing this for gamers. So don't have that sentiment. Don't people like PC Gamer. There's a couple of YouTube channels. I'm not going to call out more people. I'll only call out what's here. Intel is our only hope out of this nightmarish GPU crisis. What exactly does that mean? So I want to get into specifically what is the current GPU crisis going on. So I know it might seem like it's impossible to get a GPU, and depending on where you are in the world, you have a completely different experience getting that. Paywalk. That's not what I wanted. So the one option, for an example, is Founders Edition cards. If you're trying to get an AMD, good luck on their website. I've tried. Good luck on their website. If you can do that, all power to you. You've gotten the best deal you possibly can. Getting a 6700 XT for $479 before shipping and tax. Getting a 6800 XT for an actual $650 or 6800 for $580 before shipping and tax is a steal in this market. It's MSRP. It's what should be right, but it's a steal in this market. For the Nvidia side, if you don't live in US or Canada, you're fucked. for Founders Edition completely. Then it was about a week ago, right? It's like a week or two. It was like 2 weeks ago, because I remember seeing this like the beginning of February. But Best Buy has this like I forget what the name of their thing is, but they have this like Best Buy buyers program. It's $200 a year, and there are some perks with it for the Best Buy. It's not just like a membership. It's a paid membership. There are actual benefits and things they do. It's $200 a year. They have to be able to put stuff in there. Well, now they have locked the Nvidia's was the name of this? The RTX 30 series, Ampere. They've locked all the Ampere Founders Edition cards, which are the only way to get these Founders Edition cards. Nvidia doesn't sell them on their website, never has. The only way to get these is now $200 higher. You have to pay that. If you're not a part of that, you can't purchase the card. Not reserve it. Not, I'm going to stand in line for 3 fucking days and wait for my little ticket. You can't buy it. So it's a paywall behind it. So that $400 3060 Ti is $600 before shipping and tax. Right? The $600 3070 Ti, which I don't know why you get that over the 3070, same fucking thing, is now $800. And the Founders Editions are nice cards. They're not the best of the best. The AIBs are just, but you start getting to that difference in price is just too substantial to be like, it's the same fucking card. Like I could pay a little bit more to have a better AIB model, better cooling, better design, got RGB if you want that. For me, the important ones when I got my card were having a dual BIOS, just as a backup, and it's easy to take apart, so it's easy to clean the fans without taking the whole thing apart, and taking the whole thing apart is not too difficult. And it's a nice card. I like the AIB, so that's why I got that. Would I have gotten that for like $100 or $200 more than another model that? Fuck no. I got that because it was like the same price, maybe like $20, $30 difference between the ones when I was looking. So for Founders Edition cards, you're kind of fucked. Nvidia has no options because they're a shitty company. They're fucking pieces of shit. And AMD has no options or has limited options because getting on their website and doing all that, getting in the queue, sitting in there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, just to get noticed later that you can't get it, it's a shit show. Right? So what are the other options? Well, let's talk about the big one. Newegg. Now, there's lots of drama going on with Newegg recently. Anybody who's a Gamers Nexus, And ignore this. This is just like Xbox Game Pass gift is not available and a fucking quantity limit. I just have this open to show you guys. So, I know there's stuff going on with Newegg. Don't buy refurbished through Newegg. If you're going to buy if refurbished, because it's going to get brought up at some point. Somebody's probably going to talk about it and bitch about Newegg. Look, if you're going to buy refurbished, you should always do it locally as you can, okay? Unless that person has like benchmarks, you're buying it from a trusted seller, someone you bought from before. Unless you're doing something specific, you should always be able to be like, hey, I have my PC here. Can I pop that in? There'd be a GPU, PSU, CPU. Hey, for the CPU, can you take a video showing that it's today's date and that is working in, these 3 applications? I want to make sure there's nothing wrong with like any of the cores or anything like that. There's nothing fucked up. All right. That's totally acceptable, and that's the best way to do refurbished. You're going to do refurbished through eBay. Good luck. You're going to get what you get, and you're just going to know it's not what it should be. They should be better as a trusted seller, but it's fucking Newegg, guys. So, I'll keep that in the middle. I don't know why I moved that. Okay, so what is there as far as AIBs on Newegg, what you can do? This is also going to change region to region, and this is just Newegg. I'm going to go through local retailers. I'm going to use a local store of mine. But for here, the only models I exempted were the 6500 XT that I don't think you should get at all. And I believe the 3050 I also disregarded. Yes, there is no 3050 on here. The price difference between the 3050 and the base model 3060 here I would just get the 3060. You'll be better in the future. At that point, and I'll talk about at that point for the price of the 3050s, I'd rather just go and get the 6600. But so let's start with Nvidia because it's what everybody's gonna wanna see first. So the current Newegg Nvidia prices. Now these cards, I cherry picked these cards. I'm gonna tell you right now. I cherry picked these cards. These are the very cheapest models that you can get on Newegg right now for this model card. So for the 3060 Ti right here, this MSI Ventus, I do not recommend this MSI Ventus over another one. I recommend EVGA and MSI. They're great AIBs over everybody else. But I wouldn't say this card is better than the other. I don't know. I haven't tested them. If you want to know for your specific card too, go look it up, right? There's only going to be one exception when we get to the AMD cards, but I got the lowest ones possible. These prices vary depending on the cards. So for this 3060 Ti is $860, okay? This is the very cheapest I can get it. Maybe, just maybe, possibly, there was like one more that was around the same price, give or take like $20, $30 for some of these. But like this price is $860. This is the lowest you're going to find on Newegg in North America. Okay, your market's also going to change this probably, although most of these are shipping from like China anyway. Now this 3060 Ti can go up to like $950, close to $1,000, but this is the cheapest you can get it. Okay, this is all there is. The 3060, $708. Now the 3060 to 3060 Ti has a decent performance difference. But if you're doing anything more than, low 1440p, medium 1440p, say gigabytes, ain't gonna last you. So I think the 3060, the difference between these two, the 3060 is just a better buy. You don't need a triple slot card, a triple fan, I believe, for the 3060. I don't think it'd get that hot, but these aren't great prices. And again, this one is going to be at a range as well. The 3070, this is where we start getting ridiculous. At this point, I don't recommend any Nvidia cards out here. This 3060 Ti, if you can get this and you have a card to sell and you're making money off of it, go ahead. This 3060, if there's nothing else, get this over the 3050. I think the 3050 is like maybe 100 more difference between it. Just get this. I would also say I wouldn't get this without selling something else to have money. This is $800 for this is insane. We'll get into that exactly why. So I don't recommend any of these, but past up to the 3070, I don't recommend any of these Nvidia products. The price for all these is just insane. So the 3070, the cheapest is on Newegg, is basically $1,100. The 3070 Ti, which is up here somewhere. Oh, I don't have a 3070 Ti. Oh, that's because it was close to the 3080 price. Okay, so 3080. I have two here to show you. This is the lowest model 3080, 1400 and change. Okay, this is also over here. This 3080 for 1600. A lot of people, I don't know why 23 fucking people have this card. Jesus Christ. These are 23 dumb fucking people. Why? Because you should never, in 2022, you should never be so like, I need a GPU so bad unless you need it for work to get a blower style card at $1,600 that is over double its MSRP. You should never have to get this. Never, ever. If you need to get this for work, we'll go over what to get. Get something used. You know what you should get? Get this one. Save yourself the 150 plus bucks, extra money in shipping and taxes or whatever, and just save the fucking money. This blower, you should not be getting blower style cards in 2022 unless it's used and it's at a discount. That's the only thing you can get. Okay. And then for shits and giggles, I put a 3090. Oh, there's a 3080 Ti. I just wanted to put that in here in case anybody's looking at that. The difference between these two cards is so negligible. $600 is stupid to get it. And then the 3090, again, 22 people have this item in their cart. Why? This is $3,000. This is almost double its MSRP. Its MSRP was already fucking stupid. Okay. Now I know the Nvidia people are like fuming right now. The AMD people are laughing their asses off. Don't worry, AMD people. It ain't much better for you guys. The 6500 XT is omitted from here because it's a shit card. So I'm starting at the 6600. Now, here is the one asterisk that I talked about. Remember I said these are the cheapest cards you can possibly find? Well, this is not the cheapest card. There is a 6600 for it's a Sapphire Pulse for $439, something like that. There are bad reviews saying that it's a light edition, and it's not stated that it's a light edition. I don't know what's up with it. I haven't researched that specific card. I have a Sapphire card. Every Sapphire, I think, is a good AIB. But there's enough bad reviews, and I just omitted it, okay? And then this is the cheapest by like 60, 80 bucks at least. So $520 for a 6600. You then have the 6700 XT. There's this MSI version for basically 900. Again, this is going to change depending on what model you're getting. They go all the way up to like 1100 for 6700 XTs. I think they go a little bit higher, some of them. This is the cheapest it is. There is like no, as far as like performance, there's very little difference between this and the ones for like 1,000, 1,500, or 1,100. So get the cheapest one that doesn't specifically have something wrong with it when you're buying a card. And I didn't put anything higher for the 6700 XTs, anything close to 1,000, because the cheapest 6800 is 1,200. And change. I don't like this price. I don't like the price of these cards at all. And the 6800 XTs are like 100 or 2 more. They're like starting around like 1,350, I think, 1,400 for those cards. And then you have the 6900 XT. This is the cheapest possible card you have. I actually think it's one of the cooler looking ones as far as RGB in the middle fan. These are 138 smart people compared to the, 22 people that have this 3090 in there. I think the 6600 over here and this are the only acceptable cards for these prices. This is not an acceptable price for a 6700 XT. It's not a good one at all. Plus, you got to add shipping and taxes on top of this. It's over $1,000. And same here. This is not a good price for this. This, if you could get the one at AMD's website, get that one. There's really not a huge difference between them except for cooler. Might have dual BIOS, no RGB, whatever. I would say save the $500, upgrade something like a CPU, do something else for yourself, okay? And the reason why I didn't recommend any of these cards, once you get to here, like the 3080 at 1,400, this 6900 XT is $1,500. It has double VRAM. No, not double VRAM. 6 extra gigabytes. So if you're doing anything at 4K gaming, I don't know why you'd get that. Why you'd get the 3080. It's going to be inferior. You're going to have problems playing stuff like Cyberpunk, 4K, Guardians of the Galaxy. Halo Infinite uses over 8 gigabytes, close to 10, on my computer at 1440p medium settings. Ultra, I think, is where it gets like basically up to 10. Once I go to 4K, stuff ain't gonna play stuff like that. So, I think this one and the 6600 are the most acceptable out of all of these. But I don't think any of these are really good prices. So, what's your other option if you don't have Newegg? 'Cause Newegg's a shit show right now. Well, for me, I have a local store called Central Computers. I like them. I've been a little iffy with their repair services. I had a bad experience, and I got definitely tried to get the wool pulled over my eyes. So I don't have a good story or experience there. But as far as buying from them, they're my local shop. Micro Center is better. If I go to LA, I would like to go to Micro Center. Replace this with whatever your shop is. Now, here's the issue, though. They're not all for standalones. They're not all. Some of them are for bundles. Some of them are in these like pre-configs, full system builds. That's where you start getting expensive. So specifically at this place, I mean, you can see it, all the ones in purple from the 3090 up. The only ones that are available are the Zotac brands. So here's a Zotac 3050. This is the only thing that I would say is comparable to the 6600. I would still say, and we'll get to it, I think the 6600 is a better deal. But if there was nothing else, if there was like nothing else I could possibly get, and this was all that I could get, this is acceptable. Okay, it's got DLSS. You're not going to do ray tracing and fucking anything unless it's going to look like shit, and you might as well just not have ray tracing on. Trust me, I had a 2060, and ray tracing was not a thing I should do. I tried it. It's not a fucking thing I should do. So this one's $460 for the 3050s. It's a better price than, for the price differential between like this and this 3050. We get this 3050, that'd be fine. And then you have stuff like the 3070 Ti, close to $1,200. Once you're getting up to here, you get close to that $1,500 range. Just get a 6900 XT if you're like in it for gaming. Okay. And here's the caveat. If there is a specific, like, if you're like, hey, I want AMD because I don't like Nvidia. If you're like, I want Nvidia because of the hardware encoding. If you're like, I prioritize ray tracing. I don't know why you would, but I prioritize ray tracing over everything. DLSS is a God-given thing. If that's the whole like situation, then you're stuck buying in whatever you want from your preferences. Okay, those are your faults. There are GPUs available. I just showed you. This 3050 is here. It's not great, but it's here for that price. This 6600. I think this is a better card than the 3050. And it's what, like $60 more? I would just get this. It's an acceptable entry-level price. You're in the mid-range stuff, it's kind of harder until you get up to this. And then just get this. Just get this model. There's a couple of them for like around $1,700. It's better than this blower style card that's weaker with less VRAM. It's a fucking blower style card. And I'm not shitting on every blower style card, but like you have the choice. Why would you get that? So if you have a preference, you have a preference, and that's the way you're gonna go. But performance wise, what's the performance like? So we're gonna shout outs to Hardware Unboxed. This is where I got all this information. You can see all this stuff this is not new. I've watched their videos for a while. So I'm gonna go to 1080p gaming average. Okay. Because I want to show you. These are there, and here's the thing with anybody who's doing benchmarks, okay? I want to say this now. If you want to complain about somebody's benchmarks, then what you got to go do is you got to go do this. Let me show you. You go YouTube, and you're going to go, say you want the 6600. You don't like their, okay, RX 6600 benchmarks. Benchmarks. There's a ton of them. FPSS, Game Choices, Benchmark Lab, RBN, Testing Games. People have these cards, and they're doing this on here. Okay, they all have a lot of the similar games because they're very popular games. You can see like Death Stranding, you can see Fortnite, you can see this is perfect. You can see Horizon, you can see Tomb Raider, you can see GTA, you can see Fortnite, you see Cyberpunk, you see Assassin's Creed. You're gonna see all these games. You might see Guardians of the Galaxy here because it pushes. You might see Halo Infinite. Maybe. So I want to show you because I talked about why I for the bottom range, these cards. These guys do a lot of work to have this here. They're not cherry picking their notes, okay? They're not doing something to specifically make a certain card look better. Trust me, they're not. I've never, the only thing that you might not match up to here is, well, if they're using a 5950X, right, and you've got 2700X in your system, right, or you've got like a 10400, like obviously you're not going to get the same results. They have a 5950X, okay? That's just how it's going to go. But GPU to GPU, this is fine. Now, between these two cards, the 6600 and the 3050, okay, why I don't have them on the same level? That's almost a 20% difference. That's more than 20% difference. I'm sorry, it's like 23% difference. For $60, when you're already at the 500 or you're already at the $460 range, get the 6600. Okay, on the higher end, and it's good because this literally cuts off. This literally stops at the 3060, and this goes at the 3060 Ti. 6700 XT is going to be comparable to that 3060 Ti. Okay, it's going to be better in some games in the 3070, but really not many. The higher VRAM is going to be better if you're going to be doing high 1440p and maybe some light 4K. Okay, at that point, I would just say, get the 6700 XT, save yourself some fucking money. This is where we're at. The difference between these cards, the 3080 10 gigabyte, because 3080 12 gigabyte does not exist unless it's in a system build. Does not exist. Never found it. What does this say? 13% difference? 15% difference between 3080 and 6900 XT? Well, if we're going to look at Newegg, that 6900 XT is $1,500. These 3080s, the cheapest one possible, is $60 less. When you're at the $1,500 price point, you're cutting yourself short $60 to go and get the other card. Get the one that's better. This is objectively better. Okay, if you get higher in this price point, you get to like 1700. No, it's not worth that. The difference in that card and this card is fucking nothing. Don't do that. Makes no sense, right? So these are the two benchmarks. These are for the videos too. This is the 3080 12 gigabyte and the 3050 review. They show basically everything you'll need as far as this. And then there's also things like power consumption. There's ray tracing performance, 1440p is a couple of other things. They're going to go through the cost per frame, but I think that's kind of hard for them to say because it's going to be so different depending on where you live. So to tie this all back to the Intel Arc stuff, there's a lot of things up in the air. So if Intel has something around the 3070 range, right, 6700 XT 3070 range, right? They have something around this range, and we're also not considering the drivers. What are they going to be like? Are there going to be any specific games that aren't going to work with it? What's it going to be like for hardware acceleration? Is it going to be worse or better than AMD card or the Nvidia card? If you're doing this for more than gaming, I believe FSR has said it's going to probably work on these, but is FSR going to work on these? The build quality going to be good? What's the power consumption? So what's the VRAM? If you make a 6700 XT with 12 gigabytes versus one with 8 gigabytes versus one with 6 gigabytes, well, that's a big fucking difference. That's a really big fucking difference. So considering all that stuff on the side, if we just say Intel has 1 million equivalent 6700 XTs 3070s for $800, that does nothing for the GPU crisis. Does absolutely fucking nothing at all. If they have 1 million of these at this performance near its actual MSRP, then that changes the GPU crisis. AIBs and everybody will have to be forced to lower their costs or their price for their cards. They don't have a choice, or they're not going to be bought if everything else works out. And that's a big asterisk in the air. Okay, so everybody stop. Please stop. Like, PC Gamer, stop sucking off Intel, okay? Intel is not a company that ever has a release that is like for the consumer. It's always for them, okay? There is nothing. 11th gen was dog shit. 12th gen is Alder Lake, and it's good, but again, you're going through new board. I'm not big on Intel's motherboard prices, especially right now. The Z690s, because the only ones that are there, I think the B560s, right? Or the B660s, or were they called? Whatever they were. I don't like their motherboard prices. Their power consumption is also high, so that PSU might need an upgrade. DDR5 is expensive, so there's still caveats. Even with a good Intel launch, there's still caveats and asterisks, okay? This is not a company known to do something for a consumer. Ever, okay? So don't suck them off. Don't have them as the savior and the hope, okay? They're a company trying to make money. Now, if they come out, again, with a 6700 XT, 3070, that's around $500, there we go. They're doing something to get gamers to have the actual cards. If it comes out anywhere near 800, then they're just trying to fucking make money. And it does nothing for the GPU crisis at all. All right, so I know after looking at all of this, it looks very fucking grim. I know it's just like, oh my God, this looks terrible. Like buying a card is like, I'm stuck with the low end card that I don't really like, AMD card, or the low end, say, Nvidia card. The best one is my local shop, but the low end Nvidia card of, where were you? The 3060 for $700. All right, so what would I suggest here? If I were giving advice to somebody buying a card right now, what would I be like? Hey, you should buy here. You should do this. Well, I would suggest the way that I did it. I'm just gonna leave it on Newegg while I talk to you guys. I would suggest that you go on the used marketplace. Okay, so we're gonna talk about scalpers for a quick second. So I'm gonna use the 6700 XT as an example. It's the card that I have in my system. Okay, it's the one that I bought. I want to give you guys this as an example. So these, and here's the thing. Look at these cards. 2 of them are out of stock. Sorry, 3 of them are out of stock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 of them here out of the 10 cards you can actually buy. Prices aren't great, and I've already told you that. Prices aren't great for these. So when I was looking at cards, I wanted the 6700 XT. If I could have gotten the 6800 XT AMD Founder Edition, whatever they call it, I would have gotten that, okay? But this was the most reasonable card when I was looking for cards. The only other card was like a 3060 Ti that was more expensive than most of these, or around the same price of $1,000. So I'm not paying $1,000 for an 8 gigabyte card. I'm sorry. You can go and suck my fucking dick. Okay? Not fucking happening. So what I do, I wanted specifically this one. I looked at a lot of these. The other one that I would have been okay with was not available really. Actually, I believe it was this one. Another Sapphire card. If I could have gotten any of these for the right price, I would have gotten them. But I had this card. Right? This is the one I ended up purchasing too. I did not pay this price for this card because, again, I live in California. It's where this store is at. This card is $950. Add on 10% tax. That's almost $1,000 on top of this. So buying this in store is $10,050. That's insane for a card that's supposed to MSRP for just under $500. Okay, so I got my 6700 XT. I got it from a scalper. All right, I went on Facebook Marketplace. I scoured card after card after card after card, and I found this one that I was looking for. Guy had like 3 or 4 of them. He must have bought them, got them, and tried to load them off for extra money. Okay, this is at the same time because this price has not changed since how many months? I've had my card like 6 months at least. Not long after it got released. So this price hasn't changed for it. All right, and this scalper had a bunch of these cards. He was selling them for $750. I asked if he'd do it 700 cash, and he said yeah. So I got my 6700 XT, this model, for 700 cash. And I got it from a scalper, right? And I'm saying that with air quotes because in my mind, this is the way that I looked at it. I went, hey, do I get the same thing sealed in box from this dude? And I'd be fine buying it like a brand new item from somebody in Marketplace. I've done stuff like that for years, buying and selling on eBay for years. Do I do that? Right? Or do I buy the same exact product new in a store just to buy it in the store? Well, in the store, I have the taxes. So I'd expect it to probably be maybe slightly more because the person's trying to make money. Except on this way, I saved over $300. I paid $700 versus close to $1,050. And the one that was over $300 more expensive is the store, the retailer. Why? Because of their markups and everything that they have. So with how the markups are in this, like, for example, this local store, and it's like this in a lot of other ones. I looked at other local stores. I looked at Micro Center. I looked at a couple more in LA, across the country. Very similar stories. So if I'm going to look at this and pay either over $1,000 in store for this, or the same exact thing from a dude who's technically a scalper for $700, well, the scalper saved me $350 fucking dollars. Do I care that that person bought it for $50 cheaper, or bought like a whole pallet of them or whatever, or a bunch of them, and is like trying to sell them for $50 more or $60 more or $100 more that he bought them? Do I care if that dude bought it for $500 and he got made $200 off of me? I was looking to get that card. The only other option is over $350 more in store. So technically, from my perspective, the scalper wasn't really a scalper. Scalper was the honest person trying to get off the cards. And they're not the honest person. They're a scalper. So my suggestion to anybody who's looking for a card, go on your local marketplace. eBay's not a great one because eBay prices are... Go on your local Facebook marketplace, Craigslist. I know, and Craigslist is sketchy as fuck. Trust me. I will tell you, Craigslist is sketchy as fuck. I still have my spam flooded with things because I looked for apartments on them a lot. Okay, it's flooded with these fucking emails. Okay, once it gets out there, it's a nightmare. But it's gonna be a similar story to Facebook Marketplace, which is what I used to get my card. And if I compare mine, I paid $700 for my 6700 XT Sapphire Nitro Plus beast of a fucking card. That's the same. That's cheaper before shipping and taxes for a 30 fucking 60 right now. All right, so the scalper who sold me that card ended up being my buddy, and I was able to get the card from them. Versus all these stores, all these retailers and everything. You know what $700 gets me now? It gets me $200 to have a Best Buy membership if a 3060 Ti comes in, and then I get a 3060 Ti Founders Edition for the same price. Card that has 4 gigabytes less VRAM, so that is not going to be used on any 4K for the foreseeable future or current games that are coming out. Not going to be used on any 4K. It's pushing it for some 1440p ones, especially on high settings, which is what it's supposed to be for. And it's a worse card, and it's a Founders Edition that has worse cooling. The Founders Edition Nvidia has better cooling than AMD's, yes, but still worse cooling. So, if you're looking for a card, go use your local marketplace. That's the best place for you to be looking for something. Other than that, if you're holding out for Intel Arc, again, the prices aren't bad depending on the card. This is a fine price. Is this better than the deal that I got for my 6700 XT? I don't think the performance is really that big. 66. Oh, this is in. This isn't the 10 game average. So 12 game average, and these games haven't changed very much between these two. 141 to 148. I think there's probably been some difference. So like this it would probably be like somewhere right around here. The 6600 compared to it. It's got less VRAM. Again, I don't think this is, compared to everything else specifically, this is a great card right now. I think this is fine. It's fine. It's got 8 gigabytes. It's going to be fine for anybody who's doing light 1440p and 1080p, which is what this is supposed to be for. Other than that, you have this. And if you're looking for anything else, go to your local marketplace. That's the best place to look for it. Newegg is the last-ditch option. Your other local retailers are probably going to be marked up like this. It's going to be insane prices. You know, and I'm not going to open it up because I don't want to show people on Facebook and things like that. So I'm not going to show up Facebook Marketplace because my local one's also going to be different than yours. You might have some better people, you might have some shittier people. Also, buy used. A GPU used is one of the better parts used in a computer, other than like a case. Okay, just make sure you test it. Be very careful, but it's not like you're buying a CPU where, hey, the pins aren't bent, but fuck, doesn't it has some sort of problem where I can't use DIMM slots 1 and 2 or 1 and 3. I have to use DIMM slots 1 and 4. I mean, sorry, I have to use DIMM slots 2 and 4 because just something wrong. Something's wrong with the CPU. Personal story I have. Even RAM. Something scratched and one of the RAM sticks doesn't work. Why the fuck? You save $10 to have something that doesn't work? GPU is not great right now, especially all the prices, but I would say it's better to go and get that used than paying over $1,000 for something like this. Or for like a 3070. Okay, 3060 Ti, sorry. If I go to 3060 Ti, this is for shits and giggles here. In store, because there are some that aren't. They come with restrictions, right? This is the only one you could buy. Actually, is it? 3060 Ti. No, there are no 3060 Ti's that you can get standalone. So you have to get this with something. Is this a better deal than buying the GPU I got? No. Is it better than getting the GPU I have at this store now? Yes. So everything's going to change for you. It really depends on your retailer. It really depends on your area. You know? So the end of all this, is Intel going to be the savior? No. They're not. If they don't have something that's close to the current MSRPs near those price points and have their own fabs, if they're also doing it to AIBs who are going to be the majority, 90 to 95% of the cards that are going to be on the market, and they're higher than the MSRP of that card, no. Doesn't matter that they're going to have millions and millions. Have 1 billion of those fucking cards. It doesn't matter. These cards are here. They're available. People aren't buying them up as much. People are buying like 3090s. I keep seeing people being like, I just traded my, 3070 for a 3090. I couldn't be happier. And blah, blah, blah. You don't need 24 gigabytes of VRAM for what? What the fuck do you need 24 gigabytes of VRAM for? You don't even need 16. Unless you're doing like 4K multi-monitor. Then it's like, all right, you already have $3,000 in monitors. The fuck is a $1,500 graphics card? The fuck's a $3,000 graphics card for that? You're just in a different price point. But for the general consumer, for somebody who's just like, I need to replace my card, I'm looking to upgrade from a very old card, I'm looking to get into it. There are options out here. They're not great. They're okay. Some, like the 6600, are much better than other options. Some, like this 6600 XT, is okay. This is $600, 6600 XT. That's fine. If you don't want this one, again, this one's good for what it is. But if Intel doesn't come out with like actual MSR close to current MSRP cards, not current selling price, because that's insane and that's all over the fucking place. But if they don't come out with like a 3070 competitor that's near $500 to $600, doesn't matter. If they come out with a 3080 type of card that's still over $1,000. It doesn't fucking matter because you can get cards near that performance, near that price. They're usually on the used market or on marketplaces, new on scalpers. Right? And you can get these cards through AMD. You can get their cards. Very, 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 very hard to get them. But you can get them. So, just the prices that suck. If Intel doesn't do anything about the prices, and that's if everything else works out on Intel, which I'm skeptical on because they just haven't had a GPU, then they're not going to do anything. So everybody stop sucking their dick. Don't hope for Intel. Hold out. If you can hold out, you can keep using what you're using. Keep doing it. If you need to replace it for something, there are options out here. All right? I just don't want you to go onto like a used marketplace or on eBay and get like, oh, here's a Founders Edition blower style 980 Ti for like $300 or $350. That seems actually okay. I know this was a popular card back in what? No, go get that 6600. Okay, go get that 3050 that I showed you. All right, go get stuff like that. Go get a used 2060, a used 1660 Super for around the same fucking. You can get a new 1660 Super for that fucking price. All right, don't do like stupid decisions like that. All right. So I just came out here to just hopefully help everyone, find what they're looking for, answer some questions or misconceptions they might have, and yeah. Till next time, guys. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, whatever. If you're looking for a GPU, tell me what you have and what you want and you're looking for, and I will leave in a comment the best advice I can give you for your specific model or your specific card that you're looking for as well. Right? Don't take my word as the only thing you should, as like the gospel, the word of God, but I will give you the best advice I can. So leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy Friday. Have a good weekend.